How you doing, guys? This is Mike from Lumin Lights, and today we're going to be giving you a tutorial / demo video on our 192 channel DMX hardware control board. We're going to be controlling one of our Slick Park quads with this board. The Slick Park quad is in 4-channel mode, and before we get into actual use and programming, let's just go over the physical features of the board. Starting over at the left side of the board, we have our fixtures buttons. Now, you can have up to 12 fixtures on this board. Each fixture button gives you 16 DMX channels, which correspond to these faders right here. There are 8 faders, and right here there is a page select button where you can go from page A to page B. Page A lets these faders control channels 1 through 8. Page B lets these faders control channels 9 through 16. So that's how we have 16 channels per button. The first button starts at DMX starting address number 1. So when you hook up your first fixture, like I've done here, the DMX address on the light has to be set to 001. If you add a second fixture, this fixture's DMX starting address would have to be on 017, or DMX starting address 17. Count up 16 channels from there, and the next channel would be the starting address for the third fixture, so on and so forth. Now, what if you have a light that has more than 16 channels? Say you have one of our moving heads like our Global Spot 150, which in the most controllable mode has 34 channels. Well, you would use fixture 1 to control the first 16 channels of that light, and then you would select fixture 2, turn off fixture 1 to control the other aspects of that light. So you can control a fixture that has more than 16 channels, you just have to use up more of your fixture buttons. But right now we're going to keep this very simple. We're going to get you up and running with a par can and some basic functions. So we've covered the fixtures buttons and the faders and the page select button, so you know what we've got going on here. Now, the next item we have here, there's a strobe button. Don't worry about this. The strobe button really is useless. We're going to be getting rid of it in future versions. There is an input jack on the back, which I'll show you, a 1/4-inch jack, where if you have certain strobe lights that have an input jack on it, you can momentarily hold this down to make them strobe and then pick up when you want them to stop. We've just found that it's not really a useful feature. Most lights have DMX built into them in one of the various channel modes, and you can easily control your strobing through a fader and not have to sit and hold the button. So this is going to be going bye-bye. Across here, this is our scenes buttons. Now, scene is basically you want to set the look of your light. You want to set a color. If it's a moving head, you want to move the head to a certain position and then save it so that when you press a button, the light goes right to that scene. Moving further down the board, you'll see over here we have 2 sliders. We have a speed slider, and this is going to control the speed of your chases, how fast they move or change. And then you have this slider right here, which is your fade time. And that's going to be how long it takes to, say, if you have 2 colors, you're doing a sequence going from red to blue. Instead of it just being a snap, red, blue, which would be right now because I have the fade time set to 0. The further I move it up towards the mark here, which is 30 seconds, the smoother and slower fade or transition you would have. So that's your fade slider. Above the fade and speed slider is our LCD display. Now I'm going to zoom in here a little bit just so you can get a closer look at this. The LCD display has a lot of information on it actually for such a little display. We've got music trigger, auto trigger, bank, scene, chase, program, step, blackout, and then step/time. And here's your actual display. And if you can make it out, there are a little LCD or a little LED inside, little LEDs inside that would light up. For example, if I hit blackout, that's the blackout word. There's the little button letting you know your blackout is active. So let's pull out again so we can see the whole board. Moving over from there, we have a bunch of buttons right down here on the side. We'll start right here. We have bank up and bank down. What that's going to let you do is access the various banks of your scenes. Now if you look at the scenes here, we have 8 buttons, but you don't have 8 scenes. You have 240 scenes because you have 30 banks of 8 scenes. So this would be bank 1, and I'm going to show you right here on the LCD. We're on bank 1. If I were to go bank up, bank 2. If I go down to bank 1, I go down one more time, bank 30. So you can create 240 scenes over a course of 30 banks, which gives you a lot of scenes to be able to create some really nice chases and effects. So again, just to recap, 192 DMX channels, 12 fixture buttons which can be combined for larger fixtures, 240 scenes you can pre-program in 30 banks of 8. So that's our bank buttons. Moving down from there, we have our program button. When you press and hold the program button for 2 seconds, a little LED is going to start flashing right next to the word program. This lets you know you are now ready to create chases and scenes. Once you're done, press program for another 2 seconds and the LED will go off and the blackout LED will come on, because once you finish programming, the unit goes into blackout mode in case you're not ready to turn anything on. Hit the blackout button, it turns off. Moving down here from program, we've got MIDI add. You're going to press this when you want to add scenes to a existing scene, or add a certain look, a color, whatever, and save it as a scene. Or if you want to add scenes to a chase, to create a chase. Down from there we have auto delete. Auto function is going to run your shows. It's going to either, just pressing auto by itself is going to run whatever sequences you saved, whatever scenes you've saved in whatever bank you're in. It's going to run them in sequential order. If you keep auto pressed and you press one of your chase buttons, it's going to activate that chase. The delete portion of it is when you're in the programming mode. If you say made a mistake, you want to delete a scene, you want to delete a chase, there's a procedure to use that button and then hit whatever chase or scene you want to erase, and it'll delete it. Next button down is our music bank copy. Now this has 2 features as well. In music mode, there is a built-in microphone inside this board. So you can use this board as a sound active device to control your lights. Basically the microphone, every time it hears a sound, it makes a closure of the microphone, and then when the sound disappears, the circuit opens up. So as the sound is beating, you have a beat of music going on off to the beat of the music. It's turning your lights on and off, or making them change from program to program to program, or chase to chase, or scene to scene. The other function of this button, the bank copy function, is going to allow you to copy, say for example you have a bank of scenes and you want to copy all those scenes to another bank. Well, that's one of the functions that the bank copy can do. The last button on the left side of these 2 rows is your tap sync display, and that's basically going to let you tap this button to the beat of the music. If you have a chase running, you set your speed but it's not exactly where you want it, you want to key into the beat of the music, you can tap along to the beat of the music for about 3 seconds and then stop, and then the unit will key in on that tempo that you've set, and it will move your chases or move your scenes to the beat that you've preset. Okay, coming down the bottom now, going over to the right side and moving up, we have our blackout button. That's simply to turn the lights on and off. You can have moving heads moving around the room. Cake cutting time comes up, you want to kill all the lights, you don't want to have to sit and pull all your faders down and turn off all your switches. Just hit your blackout button, and that's going to stop the light output. The lights are going to turn off, they're going to black out, but they're still ready to go. As soon as you hit that button, they all turn on, they're right back where they were before. You don't have to sit and readjust your faders, so that's a convenient feature to have. And then lastly, this row of buttons up here are your chase buttons. You have 6 chases that you can pre-program and save and then access at the touch of a button. Moving on to the back of the board, now I have it upside down here but it doesn't really make a difference. You have your power button to turn the unit on and off. You have a 1/4-inch jack. This is what I was talking about. This corresponds to this little strobe button. If you had a strobe fixture with a 1/4-inch jack in it and it was designed to be controlled by a voltage, this is what you would use this for. This again is being phased out, so I wouldn't even worry about this. Here's your power cord, where it's going to plug in to bring power to the unit. This is your DMX out, so you can run your cable to your lights, or if you have one of our wireless DMX sticks, you would just plug the stick in here and it becomes a wireless transmitting control board. You have a polarity switch, which is kind of an interesting thing, and what that's all about is, if you don't understand polarity switches and what it does, inside a DMX cable there are 3 wires. There's pin 1, which is ground, and pin 2 and 3, which carry the data. Some lights that are made for Europe, some lights that come out of China, don't conform to the normal standard, and they have pins 2 and 3 reversed. So if you ever happen to go to control a light and you see that it's not responding, and you know you've got your channel set, you know you've got the board set, everything is set correctly, but the light is just not working, flip your polarity switch and then see what happens. And it'll probably work, because probably the wires 2 and 3, the polarity has been set up the wrong way. And then finally, you have a MIDI out cord, so you can control things like if you have a smoke machine that has a MIDI input, or MIDI devices. We're not going to get into that because it's kind of advanced. I know there's musicians that also use this with their synthesizers, but we're talking basic light control here, so we're not going to cover that. So now let's get into the meat and potatoes of it. Let's have some fun and get you up and running. So we've got our Slick Par Quad, and it's hooked up to the controller. It's in 4-channel mode, and it's on DMX starting address number 1. So it's going to correspond to this number 1 fixture button. So I hit number 1, and now I'm in manual mode, which means I'm now going to control this light. Channels 1, 2, 3, and 4 on this light are 1 is red, 2 is green, 3 is blue, 4 is white. So now the fixture is selected, the LED is on. I simply move my fader up, and there you go. I've got red, I've got green, I've got blue, I've got white. So the first part is done. You've got your light up and running, and you've got some manual control, and you can do some mixing. You can mix some reds and blues to make purple, whatever you want to do. But now, say you have you're doing a show for a band, and they have certain colors they want, and they want them at certain times of the night, and you don't want to sit and have to play and adjust until you get it just right. You want it instant. Well, that's where your scenes buttons come in very handy. You can pre-program a color, and then once it's set, saved in the scene, you just hit a button, hit the buttons, and have some certain colors come on. I've pre-programmed some scenes here, but we're going to show you how to go about doing this. So let me turn this off. So to program a scene, come over to this side where the program button is. You're going to hold it in for 2 seconds, and then you're going to see a little flashing LED right here. So our scenes are ready to program. And let me just zoom in here so you can see a little bit better. Okay. Now, our scene button is flashing. So we are ready to program. So now to program in our first scene, I did 1 is red, 2 is green, 3 is blue, 4 is white, 5 has nothing on it right now. I'm going to make 5 purple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise my red. I got to select my fixture first, and I'm going to raise my red, and I'm going to raise my blue, which makes purple. And I'm going to hit the MIDI add button over here. Let me pull out a little bit for you. The add MIDI button, and watch the display. After I hit the add MIDI button, I'm going to go to 5 and hit it, and you see the display just flashed real quick and then it turned off. That means it's saved. When all the LEDs come on and the LEDs on the fixture buttons come on and flash for real quick, like 3 flashes, that means it's been programmed and it's been saved into memory. But we're not done yet. We have to get out of programming mode. Hold down the program button for 2 seconds, 1, 2, and it turns off. The light goes out. We're in blackout mode. Hit the blackout mode button to turn it off. Let's pull our faders down. And now, let's see what we did. We've got, let's see, our fades here. Sometimes, if the board sticks, sometimes you got to power on and off again. There we go. So 1 is red, 2 is green, 3 is blue, 4 is white, and 5 should be purple because that's the scene we just saved. And there it is. So now you've got your scenes. You're playing for the band. We want red for this song, we want blue for this song, and we want purple for our love ballad. And there you go. All right, so moving on, let's kill this. So now you have manual control over the lights. You're creating scenes with the lights. Now you use up all 8 of your scenes. Now what? You've got 240 scenes. How do you access the next group of 8? Well, if you look at your LCD display, we're on bank 1 right now. Just go over here and hit the bank up button. Now you are on bank 2. You've got 8 empty scenes that you can start programming some more scenes. And when you finish with that bank, go to 3, go to 4, go to 5, all the way up to 30. So scenes are covered. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a chase. Now, a chase is a collection of scenes that are put in a certain order and then played at variable speeds and fade times using your faders here. So to create a scene or a chase, we're going to hit our program button again, and it's going to start flashing, letting us know we're in programming mode. I'm going to pick a scene. Now I've got stuff on 1 and 2 already, so I'm going to pick scene 3. And now you see there's a 3 right there under the word chase. So, I'm sorry if I've been saying scenes, it's chase. So we're creating a chase, and we're on chase 3. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick some scenes. I'm going to start off with blue. Now I'll come over here to the MIDI add button. I'm going to hit it and watch the display. It saved it. That's my first step. Okay, now I'm going to go to blue. I'm going to go to that nice purple that we made. I'm going to click it, and then I'm going to come over here again, add MIDI, and watch the display. Now that's saved. Now I'm going to go to red, and again hit the MIDI add button, and that's saved. So we've got blue, purple, red. Now I'm all done. I want to save it. I have to hit the program button for 2 seconds. 1, 2. It turns off. We're in blackout mode. Hit the blackout button to turn the lights back on. Let's turn off the last scene we were on. All right, now chase 3 is saved. Now in order to play it, we have to go down to the 3rd button down here, which is the auto delete button. Now we're going to be using the first function, which is auto. Now let me explain. This button works 2 ways, so you don't get confused. If you press auto just by itself, it's going to play whatever bank we're on bank 1. It's going to play the colors in sequence, and I have red, green, blue, white, purple, and I have a dim white or nothing on channel 8 that I had programmed in. So let's see. If we hit the auto, and you're going to see the steps ticking off here. Hit the auto. There we go. And now you see the light is going crazy, and if you look at the display, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8. Now while this is going, I just want to show you something quick. I know we're going to get into the chases in a second. Your speed slider. Again, I've lowered that down now, and you see it's moving a lot slower. But just auto by itself, again, is just going to sequentially play in order the scenes that you've already programmed in whatever bank you are on, and we're on bank 1 right now. Now if I want to access the chases, we've got auto playing. Just hit your chase, and we hit 3, because here we are, chase 3. And this is what I programmed: 1, 4, 8, and 3. So we've got our blue, our purple, our red, and somehow white got in there. I must have pressed 4 by accident. But that's how you create a chase. And again, with your chase, using the sliders, we can make this very slow. We can make this very fast. Or another thing you can do here with the other slider is the fade. If you see, the colors are snapping from color to color to color. If we move this up a little bit, now instead of a snap, we've got a nice gradual fade, so you can achieve different looks. So now to turn off our chases, let's hit the auto button again. Actually, before we do that, let me just show you something else. Music bank copy, I'm going to hit that, and you notice our chase has stopped because it's in music mode now. What happens is it's listening to that microphone that's built inside, and it's waiting for sound. Now when I tap it, as if the microphone was hearing the music in the room, it's going to react to sound, and each beat of the drum or each loud sound the microphone picks up is going to advance the chase to the next scene. Alright, so another function here just before we move on is the tap sync display button. And if we're playing our sequence and it's running at a certain speed and you're doing a band or a DJ or whatever and it's too fast, it's too slow, you want to try to get it in beat with the music, what you can do is tap this tap display button right here, like so, and we'll do a beat like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you notice that it's gone slower and it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It is moving at the pace that I just set on the manual tap sync button. So again, a manual way of controlling it, setting it to the exact beat of whatever music's playing, as long as you have a good sense of rhythm. And then just to disable that, just move your fader and your back up to where your speed fader and your back up to where you were. So let's turn this off. Okay. Now, we've covered how to make a chase. Let's cover blackout. Basically, just put your blackout button there again. Tap sync display we've covered. The music bank button we've covered. Adding or deleting. So say now we want to erase something. Let's use our auto delete. We've used MIDI add to add programs and add scenes. Now we want to delete something. So we want to get rid of scene 3. So let's turn this off for a second. So in order to delete something, like a chase in this case, chase 3, I called it scene, I'm in chase 3. We're going to go into a program mode. It's flashing. We're going to choose the chase that we want to eliminate, which is chase 3, and hold in our auto delete and tap our chase button, which is number 3 we want to get rid of. And there we go, it just flashed. That lets us know that it's gone. We have to hit the program button for 2 seconds to get out of this. Turn off our blackout. Now to check if we erase this, we hit our auto button. Now we're playing our scenes, and we hit chase 3 to see if it comes up. Now if you see that, I don't know if you can see that display, when I press chase 3, the number 3 came up momentarily, but it disappears. And this is still just playing the banks because there is no chase 3 anymore. So let's stop this. Okay, so that's the basics in a nutshell. Again, just to recap, we've taught you how to set up and assign your fixtures and how to control the individual channels between the 2 banks, how to program and save scenes, 30 banks of 8 scenes, how to control your speed and your fades on each effect, how to scroll through the pages of scenes, how to program in either adding or deleting chases or scenes, how to access and activate your chases by using the auto button and then choosing a chase button, how to do a manual tap to regulate the speed of your chases, and how to activate the sound active mode so you can key into the music that's in the room through the microphone that's built in, and how to manually black it out. So I hope you enjoyed this video tutorial demo. Again, this is Mike from Lumin Lights. For further information and pricing, please visit our website at www.luminlights.com.